Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto was born in Loud House and had harem? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto Loud, have you thought about adoption? It was a very sudden question that comes out of blue and the blonde woman look up to her husband with a raised eyebrow as she put a snoring brunette toddler in a crib. Adoption. The blonde woman muttered quietly so she doesn't wake her slumbering baby up. What, bring it on? She asked curiously. Well, it's just that I want a son. The brown-haired man rubbed the back of his head before he held his hands up with a wave. I mean, I'm very thankful to have 5 daughters with you, but it's just, he sighed. I always want to have a son so I can do many things with him that I can't do with our girls, catching balls, play games, teaching him stuffs, you know. Oh, the blonde woman hummed, but what if one of our girls become a tomboy and does that with you? Beside, we may try again. Ah, you're right, the man rubbed his head, but what if? What if it's a girl again? What if they don't want to do stuff with me? Well, the woman leave the bedroom with her husband as she thought deeply on the topic. I think I'm all for it, but it's something that we need to talk more about on that one. It's really big deal and yes, we'll talk more about it and we'll figure it out. The man grinned at her with a nod, and what he doesn't know is that the discussion would take them a few months until they finally make a big decision that will affect the household forever. You must ask what the name of this household. Why, it's the Loud household. The parent paced around in the living room with anxious all over their faces. They have filled out the paperwork and went to a lot of interviews before they were granted to adopt a boy. They went through a lot of pictures and backgrounds until they finally chose a boy, around their 3rd child's age. Before they start to think about the boy's background, the doorbell snapped them out from their minds and they hurriedly rushed to answer the door before they see the social worker with a 3-year-old blonde boy with whisker birthmarks on his cheeks. The boy looks up at them with his blue eyes before he looked down shyly with a fidget. Hello, Mr. Loud, Mrs. Loud. The social worker smiled at them. Thank you for taking him in. I want you two to know that either I or any of the workers will drop by several times to check on him to make sure that everything check out and that he have a good home to stay in. Why yeah, thank. The man replied nervously. He really doesn't know what to say to the boy for the first time. Welcome, I'll leave you 3 to introduce each other and I'll drop by tomorrow afternoon to see how it turns out for you guys on the first night. The social worker chuckled lightly as he leave the house, having seen the same reactions from other parents when they adopt a child for the first time. Hi, Mrs. Loud smiled at the shy boy. What's your name? Naruto. The boy fidgeted with his fingers shyly before he looked up at her. Are you my mommy now? He really don't know what to say. All he knows is that he have been adopted by someone but he don't know who. Why yeah, and I'm your daddy. Mr. Loud speak up as Mrs. Loud nodded her head. Would you like to see your room? Oh okay. Naruto muttered shyly and Mrs. Loud expand her hand out to him as he looked at her hand for a while before he slowly take it, walking up the stair with his new parent. Oh, we'll better introduce you to your sisters as soon as they wake up. Mr. Loud said as soon as he realized something. Oh okay. The blonde boy nodded his head shyly, heading to his room for the first time, and he was feeling little exciting and nervous at same time. 13 years later, an alarm went off in what appeared to be an attic that have been modified into a bedroom, and a hand expand out from the bed, grasping at empty space several times until it finally hit the blaring alarm, turning it off. A blonde teenager with whisker marks, in his black pajamas, slowly crawls out of his bed with a yawn, and he glances at the time to see that it's almost 6 in the morning before he walked toward the attic door quietly, opening it as he looked down into the empty hallway to make sure that he don't accidentally drop the ladder stair on anyone, again. He quickly head for the bathroom to relieve himself before he walked downstairs into the kitchen and he checked the cabinets. Let's see, what should I make for them? The blonde muttered to himself, pancake. Eggs. Pancake and waffle, it is. He picks the waffle iron out of the lower cabinet before he start cooking for breakfast, and about 20 minutes later, he hear noises from upstairs. Hey, I'm taking shower first. A voice cried out among stampeding footsteps and slamming doors. No way, you'll use up all the hot water. Another voice cried out. I was here first. Get out, out. The third voice shouted loudly. Let me use the toilet first. A high-pitched voice yelled, I have to go bad. The occurrence went on for a while, but the blonde teenager have got used to it as he turned back to the cooking. And you think they're gonna come up with a schedule or something like that? He shook his head with a light chuckle before he hear a footstep coming down the stairs, and he glance over his shoulder to see a 8-year-old goth girl with black hair that cover her eyes, walking in calmly. Morning, Lucy. The blonde teenager grinned at her. Waffle or pancake? Morning, Naruto. Lucy replied flatly as she takes her seat. Waffle, please. Gotcha. The blonde teenager, now known as Naruto, nodded with a smile, and he was about to turn back before he hear an exciting shout. Did I hear someone say waffle? A 6-year-old blonde girl with red cap rush in excitingly before she stops in front of Naruto, bouncing on her feet. Can I have one with chocolate chips? Chocolate chips, chocolate chip, please. Please. No, don't listen to Lana. Another 6-year-old girl, what appeared to be Lana's twin, rush into the kitchen. Don't put the chips in. Do you have any idea what it will do to my complex? You should put blueberries in. Ew. Lola. Lana glared at her twin sister with a groan. Blueberries in waffle. That's nasty. No, it's healthily. Lola snapped back and they start to bickering with each other, but it was short-lived when Naruto spoke up. Hey, don't worry. Naruto messed their hairs up with a chuckle. You two will get what you want without having to eat whatever you don't like. Alright. The twins stare at him for a bit before they mutter in unison, fine. They both head over to the table, joining their goth sister, and the teenager return to the cooking. What's cooking? A 13-year-old girl with brown hair, tied up in short ponytail, walk in with a sniffle, and she give Naruto a massive grin with a small wave. Pancake and waffle, pick one. Naruto answered. Ooh, gimme a stack of pancake. The young teenager rubbed her hands together with a clap. I'm gonna challenge the record. Good luck with that, Lin. The blonde teenager smirked at the 13-year-old girl. I don't need luck, Naruto. Lin sent him a determined glance. I know I can beat your 25 pancake record. You'll get sick. A young voice spoke from behind, and Lin looked over her shoulder to see a 5-year-old girl with glasses as she walked into their sight with bored expression. I don't need to hear that from you, Lisa. The young teenager girl huffed with crossed arms, and I won't get sick. Just you watch. Whatever. Lisa rolled her eyes before she looked up to Naruto. I would like a waffle, please. A 14-year-old girl with brace and light brown hair peek into the kitchen with a huge grin. Do you know who love pancake? Lumberjack, because they love flapjack. Everyone stared at her as she laughed at her own joke. I'll take it that you want a pancake, Luan, Naruto muttered with a sweat drop. He can't get used to her jokes after many years. Yeah, Luan giggled. Oh, what do you call? Luan, we told you no jokes at table. The 15-year-old teenager girl with brown pixie hair walk in with a baby girl in her arms. You don't want us to choke to death from laughing at your jokes. She lied, and Luan believed her right away before she turns her head to Naruto. Hey. Waffle with chocolate chips. Sure. Luna. Naruto smiled before he waved at the baby silly with a goofy grin. Good morning, Lily. Nah. Lily clapped her hands together with a giggle, and two more girls enter the kitchen, appearing to be older than the rest of the girls and Naruto. Hi, Naruto. The 16-year-old blonde girl waved at him with a grin. Are you making pancake? Hi, Lenny. Yeah, want one? The blonde teenager asked, and she bobbed her head happily before he turned to 17-year-old girl who was focusing with texts on her phone. Lori, pancake or waffle? Pick your own poison. Don't take the poison. Lenny turned her head to Lori sharply with a horrific gasp. It's a figure of speech. Lori rolled her eyes at her sister as she lifted her head up from the phone. Give me waffle. Someone was about to say something, but a voice cut the person off. Ah, finally, a 11-year-old boy with white hair walked in with a relieved sigh as he wiped his forehead before he noticed Naruto at the oven with butter mix. Hey, are you making pancake and waffle? Yeah, Lincoln, which one do you want? Naruto smiled at the boy. Both. Lincoln grinned at the older boy as the blonde teenager nodded at him before the boy turned to the empty air. In a big family with 11 sisters and an older brother, there is always someone that is better at the cooking, and that's my big brother, Naruto. I think it's because he's the only one that don't have names start with L. Lincoln, are you talking to yourself again? The older brother corked his eyebrow at Lincoln amusingly, causing the boy to stuttering. No, I'm not talking to myself. Lincoln blushed embarrassingly. I was, pretending that you're in a show again. Lori smirked at her young brother and several girls snickered at him. Shut up, the white-haired boy mumbled under his breath, low enough to make sure that his sisters don't hear him, and they wait until Naruto hand them their breakfast. After finished his breakfast and cleaning up, Naruto returned from his bedroom and he walked toward the front door. He wears a loose orange t-shirt with black jacket, navy jean and a pair of all-star sneakers. The blonde teenager opens the door, nearly bump into a young 11-years-old black boy with glasses, and he manages to catch his balance. Whoa, sorry, Clyde. Naruto breathed out, don't hear you ringing the bell. It's okay, I don't ring it yet because I just got here. Clyde pushed his glasses up with a smile. Lincoln coming? Yeah, he's getting dressed up. The teenager replied before he calls out for his young brother, Lincoln. Clyde's at door, hurry up. He turns back to the black boy as he step out. Bye, see you later. Likewise. The black boy replied, waving at the teenager as Naruto take a walk down the sidewalks. He liked to walk to his high school most of times, beside the fact that he can get a lift from his older sister or just drive by himself since he recently get his license. He suddenly hears someone calling out behind him. Naruto, wait up. The said person looked back to see Lin jogging up to him with backpack and basketball under her arms, and she give him another massive grin as soon as she arrived at his side. Wanna walk together? She asked. Her middle school happened to be near her older brother's high school. Sure. Naruto replied, thought you were gonna ride with Lori and others like usual. I don't wanna be bossing around by Ms. Bossy. Lin groaned out. She keep come up with a favor that I don't want to do if I want a ride, like giving her manicure or painting her nails. She shivered at the mental picture. She order us around like her slaves, just because she's one of few that have licenses. The blonde teenager rubbed his head with a blink. Wait, she never makes me giving her any favors at all when she gives me a lift. Because she like you better. The older tomboy mumbled under her breath with a light snort before she looked up at him quickly. Hey. Are you gonna watch my game later after school? After that, do you want to shoot some hoops with me? Teach me a few tricks. Yeah, I will go to your game then hang out with you afterward. Naruto chuckled at his hyper sister. I won't miss it for the world. Promise. Lin grinned. I promise. The older brother ruffled her hair up, and it wasn't long enough until Lin arrives at her middle school, saying her bye to her favorite brother before Naruto walked to his school. Hey, sis. Naruto carried his lunch tray to the table, where Lenny sitted with few of her friends. He happens to spot her on the way after he receives his lunch, and he decides to drop by to say hello. Hiya, bro. Lenny waved with a beaming smile. Wanna sit with us? Sure. If that's okay with the girls. He glanced at Lenny's friends. Totally. We don't mind. The girl with long black hair batted her eyelashes at him with a smirk. Why don't you come sit down here? The girl with brown hair, tied up in bun, moved her backpack to clear the seat next to her, and she pats it with a similar smirk. Or here, the third girl with long brown hair gestured at the empty seat next to her. I'll sit here. Naruto sat down next to Lenny with a nervous chuckle, knowing that her friends were kinda flirty. Ah, dang, the black-haired girl muttered under her breath with several others. So what were you guys talking about before I get here? The blond boy asked, taking a small bite from his sandwich. Oh, we're planning to go to the mall after school for shopping. Lenny smiled at her brother. Wanna come? Sorry. Naruto smiled apologetically. I promise Lin that I'll come to her game and hang out with her afterward. That's okay. His sister replied happily, and she don't notice some grumble from her friends. Maybe other time. How about tomorrow since it's Saturday? The blonde teenager scratched his chin lightly, or we can go on Sunday. Ooh, twin shopping. Lenny squealed happily with shaking clenched hands. It's been, like, forever since we have one. Wait, you two are twin? The girl with brown bobcut hairstyle blinked. Yeah, totally. The blonde girl nodded. We're same age, so we're twin, duh. We're few months apart, so no. Naruto muttered under his breath with a small sweat drop as he quietly glanced at his ditzy sister. She have been calling him her twin for many years after she found out about their age, and he never have a heart to correct her because it seems to make her very happy for some reason. Mind if we join you for the twin shopping? The black-haired girl smirked. Nah. Lenny shook her head as she grabbed her brother's left arm. I'm gonna get some bros sis time. Do you, have any idea how hard it is to have a day with him when you have, to share him with a lot of sisters and little bro? Guess that's one of cons. One of her friends muttered under her breath. The Loud family were kinda semi-famous in the small town because of 10 girls and 2 boys. They keep eating their lunches with few small talks, shooing some flirts away in Naruto's case, and it lasts long enough until the bell ring out, signaling the end of lunch, and the students head for their classrooms or just hanging around before the warning bell. It was almost evening when Naruto walked up to his home with Lin as she hop around him hyperactively and they pass the basketball to each other. And did you know that I just scored a hat trick, not once but twice? Lin said rapidly. They can't stand a chance against me and my team. I know, I saw the game. Naruto chuckled at his tomboyish sister as she repeated over and over, you were really great and awesome today. Good job. He. Thank. The tomboyish sister grinned proudly, bouncing on her heels giddily from hearing his comment before she spun around to jump up the stair steps. Oh, I better hit the John. Thank bro for hanging out and stuff. She rushes into the house with a haste. Welcome. The sweat-dropping blonde teenager walked inside with a light chuckle. Sometime he can't get used to Lin's ridiculous superstitiously habits. He barely take 4 steps before 2 shouting figures tumble into his path as they fight each other, and he quickly picked them up in air with his hands, keeping them apart. Lana, Lola, what's going on? Naruto glanced at the said twin as they attempt to hit each other with their flailing limbs, and it continues for next 10 minutes. Look like someone won't get any pudding pie tonight. The young twin suddenly ends their fight as soon as they hear the words, pudding pie, and they suddenly point their index fingers at each other. She started it. They cried out together before Lola shout out, me. You're stealing my idea. No. Lana snarled back, you're the one who stole my idea. They bicker with each other, but their older brother cut it short. Whoa, what are you two talking about? Naruto asked. We get a class project today. Lola explained as she kept glaring at her twin. It has to be something relating to the family, and I thought it'll be nice to make a family tree. You thought? The tomboyish twin scoffed at her princess twin. It was my idea. I think it up first and you stole it. Once again, they were arguing with each other. Their older brother hummed lightly. Then why don't you two work together on this one? No. The young twin shouted out, resume their arguing. Well, I guess you two don't want pie slices at all. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Shame, it's 4-layer pudding and I was thinking about giving you 3 slices each. Maybe I'll give them 2. Let's work together. They quickly shook hands. Work every time. The blonde teenager put them down on the floor with a mental smirk. Now run among, you two better starting brainstorm on it. Brainstorm. Lenny gasped from the living room. Whoa, I don't hear that from the today's forecast. I think we can grab some brains since some of us need it. Luan suddenly popped out from the kitchen and she laughed to herself. Naruto quietly rubbed his forehead with a shaking head as he looked up at the ceiling. Only my sisters, only my sisters. Naruto, are you going to use the bathroom? The said teenager glanced down the hallway to see Lisa as she stuck her head out with clipboard under her arm. I need to get some samples. Lisa, what did we just talk about? The blonde teenager sweat dropped at his young genius sister. Not to study your stools. Lisa muttered. Or, Naruto crossed his arms with a smirk. Or you will pull pranks on me for days. The genius sister sighed with an eye roll. Fine. Carry on with your business. She was about to duck back into her room before she poked her head out. Oh, and did I hear you correct? 4-layer pudding pie. Yep. For dessert. The teenager chuckled as soon as his genius sister returns to her room for her experiments. Naruto, I need your help. Naruto nearly jumped at the voice as Lincoln ran out of his small room frighteningly with Clyde, no question asked. What did you do, lil bro? Naruto asked slowly. No question asked. Lincoln yelped. Look, I need you to stall Lori for few minutes if she comes up. Okay, but I want some X, the older brother barely says before Lincoln run back into his room and the blonde shift his eyes to the gulping black boy. Clyde. I can't tell you that. Clyde laughed nervously. He can't tell him that Lincoln had sent Lori a colorful message and later regretted after Lori bought him a new video system to replace his broken one. Alright, Naruto muttered before he hears some noise within the ceiling. Lucy, are you in the vent to work on your poem again? Yes, but it's not me. A voice speaks from the vent in calm tone. It was Lee. The voice abruptly pauses before Lucy speak up again. Never mind. Why are you two standing in the way? The boys spun around to see Lori. It turned out that they were blocking the entry from stair to hallway. Siled's eyes widened with a loud gasp before he suddenly burst some robot moves out. Abort, abort. He shuffled around robotically and his nose bleeds madly before he shuffled his way out of the house while the blonde siblings watch on. What the hell? Lori turned to her brother with a raised eyebrow. Beat me. Naruto scratched the back of his head. How's Bobby by the way? Oh, he's doing so wonderful. His older sister sighed dreamily. He just got a new job and we texted 100 times today. She started to ramble on about her boyfriend. Again. The blonde boy sighed as soon as he heard the news about job. He know Bobby pretty well and he really can't believe that Bobby have been through a lot of jobs. The reason why Bobby went through them more than anyone is because he always gets caught texting Lori during his work hours more than once. Speak of which, I better check my phone to see if it's charged enough. Lori headed to her room. Talk to you later, Naruto. Her brother walks up to the hanging string as he gives her a wave and he pulls it down to open the attic. I guess I bought Lincoln enough time. Naruto climbed up the ladder with a mutter and he picked up a black DS, turning it on as he sit down on his bed. He can hear some angry shouting from Lori and scream of his young brother, following by running footsteps with several curses. Another one backfired once again. He muttered to himself. Yo, Naruto. Luna climbed into his room with her guitar hour later. Wanna hear some new jams? Check it out. She rocked out with her guitar without allowing her brother to give his answer. What do you think? It rock. The blonde chuckled lightly and the smiling rocker hops onto his bed right next to him. So how was the day? Luna placed her chin on her knuckles. It's pretty alright. I watched Lin's game and hang out with her. Naruto shrugged his shoulders as he played his game. You? Same. The rocker nodded her head. It was alright, kinda bit boring. I just rocked out all day and that was it. I need to do something new, other than rocking out. Maybe something exciting pop out sooner before you know it. The blonde replied, or you can be like me, winging it every day. He paused to scratch his chin with a quiet mumble, expect for my part-time job. Oh, hey, Luna suddenly spoke up after a while, we should. Dinner time. The voice of their mother hollered out, indirectly cut the rocker off. Dang, the rocker muttered under her breath with a slight pout before her brother mess her hair up. Don't worry, you can ask me later during or after dinner. Naruto chuckled as they climbed down. Their parents tend to have a peaceful dinner by talking about a certain topic instead of random things like the kids always do every day. Yeah, remind me later. Luna sighed. And here come the airplane. Naruto moved the spoon around before he put it in front of Lily's mouth and she chomped down on it with a giggling coo. Sometime Naruto bring Lily to the adult table so he can feed her and the parent doesn't mind it since he did the same things with his young siblings when they were a baby, something about finding it cute. And we don't need any help from IT because it turned out that the computers were unplugged the whole time. Mr. Loud laughed out with his wife. Say, Dad, the blonde boy looked up as he fed the baby, how come you or anyone never checks the plugs in first place like all the time? I mean, it's pretty much same like the copier story or television story. I don't know. The father looked down with sweats and several of his children just shook their heads at him. Now you ask that, the mother tapped her chin, haven't they found the person who keeps unplugging them at your workplace? I don't know. Mr. Loud covered his face with his hands. Anyway, Mrs. Loud turned to her older son with a smile. I ran into Carol today at grocery store and she told me to say hi to you for her. Anything I should know about? Wait. Carol as in Carol Pingree. Lori jabbed her fork into her steak with a twitching eyebrow. Yes, it is. The mother nodded. She seems to be nice. She glanced at Naruto. Are you two seeing each other? Several girls gasped out for several reasons. Me and Carol. Naruto blinked at his mother as he wiped Lily's mouth clean with a small towel. Nah. She just has a crush on me but, not your type, right? The father laughed lightly. Kinda. In a way, the older son scratched his head. I just hope that she don't ask me out because I hate to break her heart when I turn her down. I hope she do. Lori muttered with gritting teeth as she covered Lily's ears since she was sitting between Naruto and her. I hate this bitch. Lori. Mrs. Loud shoot a look at her first daughter. Sorry, Mom. The older daughter mumbled, but she beat. Mom. Lola and Lana suddenly run into the dinner room with a huge white album. Mom. Whoa, you can't go in there. Lincoln ran out of the kitchen, following by his other two young sisters. It's okay, Lincoln. Their mother said, they look like they want to ask me something, plus, we're almost done with dinner. She looked down at her twin daughters. What is it? We were looking at the baby pictures for the family tree because we want to put some baby pictures next to grown-up pictures. Lola held the album up. But we can't find any baby picture of Big Bro. Lana pointed at the book. We only can find him at 3 years old. Did you and Dad forget to take some or are they another? Wait, what? Luann blinked confusingly. They should be in there since this one have first 6 kids. Oh, it's because, Mr. Loud exchanged a nervous look with his wife before they glance at Naruto. I think we should let them know. Naruto said, it's not really a big secret and they might find out later or soon, plus Lori and Lenny already know about it. I do. Lenny blinked before Lori whispered into her ear, oh, I do. You sure? The mother asked worriedly and her son just nods his head. What's going on? Lin asked. Well, the reason why there aren't any baby pictures of Naruto is, Mrs. Loud paused for a bit, we adopt him at 3. Adopt. Lin turned her head sharply to Naruto with widened eyes. Yeah, I'm adopted. The blonde boy said, it was about 6 months after you were born, right? 8 months. The father looked at his wife for confirmation, which she just nodded. After we had 5 of you, we both thought we won't have a son so we decided to adopt Naruto. Remember how much worried we were at this time? How should I forget that? The mother smiled. The girls took shining to him. It's the best decision we made. She chuckled lightly. Remember when we were going to have Lincoln and we were so worried how Naruto would take it? Yeah, and to our surprise, Naruto was so exciting about have a little brother that he can't leave your side the whole time. Mr. Loud smiled. He did the same thing with our little girls too. BB, but that mean he's not our real brother. PP, please tell us it's lies. We want him to be our real brother. Lana said shakily with her twin as their eyes formed tears before Naruto picked them up onto his laps. Don't cry, girls, I'm your real brother. The blonde boy hugged them closer with a soft smile, and you know why? It's because we're a family and we always love each other, no matter what happen. Yeah, just because he doesn't share our blood don't mean he's not part of our family. Lori said. Totally, and we all don't share blood but we're still family. Lenny nodded happily. It's totally, gross if we all share blood. Are we going to worry about her now? The father whispered to his wife with a sweat drop. We'll start worrying in 2 years, the mother whispered back. Like they said, I love everyone here like a family and you're all my precious people that I will always protect. Naruto said after he shook Lenny's last comment off his mind as he hugged the twin, you all are my sisters and brother and nothing can change that. The young twin returned his hug with tightened hugs. Yeah, Lincoln walked up to his side, adopted or not, you're still my awesome brother. Same here, Lin whispered and Luna nodded her head. Me too, you're the only one who teaches me some pranks. Luan spoke up. And you're the only one that always remembers me when they forget about me. Lucy suddenly appeared at their side, causing his family, but Naruto, to jump up in air with a yelp. Wait, you all don't know that. Lisa raised her eyebrow. I thought it was pretty oblivious that he's adopted because he's Japanese when we all are white. Her comment caused the children to blink rapidly. I thought he was tanned, the white-haired boy said lamely, and his genius sister just facepalmed at his response. Nah. Lily grabbed the empty air in Naruto's direction with a smile. Don't understand anything at all. Love you too, baby sis. Naruto patted the giggling baby's head. Come on, let's give him a group hug. Lori smirked before the girls with Lincoln suddenly hugged the yelping blonde boy and the mother leaned closer to her husband. And to think you were so worried about them finding out. She whispered. Well, I'm glad it works out well. Mr. Loud smiled. I'm going to get the pie slices before they all get their hands on it. Right behind you. Mrs. Loud quickly followed her husband into the kitchen. Phew, what a night. Naruto flopped on his bed with a tired sigh. The twin keep holding onto him for the rest of night after dinner and it took a while until they fall asleep in his arms. He just tucked them in their beds before he did the same thing with his other younger sisters and young brother, despite his protesting. After a couple hours, he suddenly hears someone coming into his room from the attic's opening and he look up to see Lin. What's up? See, can I bunk with you? Lin rubbed her arm. Sure. The blonde boy shifted to other side as his sister climbed into his bed. Bad dream. Kinda. Yeah, the tomboy muttered. I in my dream. Your real parents show up to take you away and you let them. Oh, it's just a dream. Naruto ruffled her hair, and if it happened, I won't do that to you guys because you're my real family. Really? Lin turned on her side to face him. Yeah, the blonde boy grinned. Hey, do you remember them? She asked abruptly after few moments. I mean, your real parent. Nah, I don't. Naruto shrugged. I was really little and all I know is that they may have to give me up for some reasons or they passed away, who know? He glanced at her. By the way, our dad and mom are my real parent because they raise me and treat me like their son. Oh, Lin smiled slightly before she hugged his side as she buried her face into his chest. Naruto, I love you. Love you too, sis. The blonde boy chuckled before he hears her snoring as he chuckle out again, sleeping already. Hey, get room for one more. A voice whispered and he looked up to see Lori. Or two. Lenny's head pop out from the attic's opening, following by the rest of the girls and a boy, minus one baby. Or more. Why yeah, but I don't think my bed is big enough for. Naruto whispered back but his siblings just climb in right away and they move around until they find their favorite spot, suddenly fall asleep right away. Night. Girls and bro, the blonde boy shook his head lightly with a small smile, wondering if that was their plan to do that, and he closed his eyes few moments later. Naruto mashed the game controller's buttons as he played the Street Fighter game with his little brother in the living room. It had been a week after his young siblings found out about his adoption, and nothing have changed between them, only to grow closer. And Naruto smirked as his chosen character defeat Lincoln's character with a special move. You're done. No fair. Lincoln glared at his brother. Rematch. Next time, lil bro. Naruto messed his little brother's hair up with a chuckle. I have to get ready for the work. Fine, but I'm gonna win next time. The boy crossed his arms with a grumble, drawing out laughter from his old brother. We'll see, we'll see. The teenager chuckled to himself as he exited the house, and he walked along the sidewalk with a whistle. It almost takes him about an hour to reach his destination, and it was an old arcade place. He enters the building as he gives a wave to an old man with mustache and referee shirt. Yo, Mr. Williams. Afternoon, Naruto. Tom Williams smiled at him. How was the school? Pretty good, just the usual. Naruto replied with a shrug as he put the blue apron on before he gazed at the arcade machines. Oh, did we get new one? Yes, a vintage Pac-Man. Tom said proudly. It just took me a few favors and time until I finally get it for the place. I bet the customers will love it. The teenager grinned. The arcade place was a unique because it have a lot of retro games and some one-of-a-kind arcade. The place was also one of Naruto's hauntings since his childhood, and he loved it so much that he becomes a worker for Mr. Williams. Indeed. Tom smiled before he head to his office. I'll be in my office if you need me for anything. Alright, Mr. Williams. Naruto hollered back, turning to the counter, and he start to check the chores of the day as few kids and teenagers come and go. He usually clean, checks the arcade machines for anything, empty out the changing machine while putting the quarters in, and etc. In other words, it was just a normal job with same routine every day while he chats with Mr. William over different topics and advices, but he doesn't mind it. Yo, big dude. Naruto looked up to see his sister, Luna, walk up to him with her guitar as he exited the building. How was the work? Luna, what bring you here? Naruto grinned at her. And the work was pretty good, thank for asking. Just passing by. Luna shrugged her shoulders as they started to walk together back to their home. I just come back from working out a gig. Your place happens to be close. Ah, how does it go? He asked curiously. Awesome, I'm gonna jam it out tomorrow night. The rocker grinned widely with a fist pump. Wanna come? Sure, I will. Naruto chuckled at her. Where and when? At the coffee house on the corner of 23rd Johnson Street, 6 feet o'clock. Luna answered. Got it. The blonde hummed lightly. So after school, huh? Yup. She bobbed her head. You better keep your schedule open for a while because I'm gonna rock it out with Encore. Yeah. Naruto nudged his shoulder against her shoulder lightly. As long as you don't dive onto some kids off the stage again. Aye, it was one time. Luna cried with red face. How the bloody hell did I know that there were some little dudes up front? She attempts to swat her older brother's head, but he dodges it before he run off with laughter. Come back here. She chased him down with a playful shout. Luann was collecting the tapes from her secret cameras on the second floor until she hear the front door opening and closing before she peek out of the hallway to see Naruto teasing Luna about something. Whatever, just shut up. Luna shoved her brother playfully. I'm gonna get some pop, want one? Nah. Naruto waved it off with a chuckle as the rocker walked into the kitchen and he turned around to face Luann, coming down the stairs. Hey, what were you teasing her about? Luann asked with a wide grin. The diving incident. The blonde chuckled. Oh, the one where she jumped on some kids. The prankster snickered as he nodded at her. Wasn't one of them Lincoln's friend from school? Oh yeah. Naruto rubbed his chin lightly in deep thought. Rusty, I believe. He glanced at his prankster sister. Anyway, what about you? Come up with any good jokes or new pranks? Yes. Luann beamed. I just found some good one online for inspiration. Wanna hear a yo mama joke that I found? Shoot. He moved over to the living room with his sister to sit down on the sofa. Yo mama so fat when God said, "Let there be light," he was asking her to move over. Luann laughed with her brother. Whoever comes up with this one is a genius. I agree. Naruto chuckled, which remind me a good one. Yo mama so ugly that when Santa came down the chimney, he said ho. Ho. HOOOOLY shit. Yo mama so stupid. She was yelling into the mailbox, and when we asked her why, she said she was sending a voicemail. Yo mama so fat that Dora can't explore her. Yo mama so ugly, she threw a boomerang and it refused to come back. Luann, Naruto. The said siblings stop their laughter as they look up to their father with his hands on hip, and he look at them with a stern expression. Yo mama so ugly, even Bob the Builder said, "We can't fix it." Good one, Dad. Luann laughed together with Naruto and their father before they keep going on and on with yo mama jokes. Wait. I get one. Lin Sr. snickered. Yo mama so fat the only. He stiffened up as they hear a clearing throat. Yo mama is behind me, isn't she? His children slowly nod at him and he turn around to face his wife, Rita, as she give him a look. We were telling some. Yo daddy so fat when he farted, the president blamed him for global warming. Rita said without taking her eyes off her husband. Ooh, good one. Luann laughed. Yo daddy so stupid he locked himself in bathroom and peed himself. Yo daddy so ugly that Sonic run faster because of him. Naruto chuckled. What did we just walk upon? Lisa deadpanned with some of her sisters at the bottom of the stairs as they listened to the jokes, and it went on for a little while. After dinner, Naruto washed the dirty dishes in the sink and he feels a yank on his pant, causing him to look down to see Lola. What's up, Lola? He asked curiously, wondering why she looks mad. Where do you keep your wooden bat? Lola asked with gritted teeth. I need it for a project. What kind of project is it? Naruto asked as he dried the dishes with towel. Secret one. The princess growled. So who's the victim this time? The blonde asked. Lori. Lola's eyebrow twitched. She forgets to do one thing for me today and now she will pay the piper. You're planning to break her phone, aren't you? Naruto said as she became quiet at his rhetorical statement. I'm not going to tell you where I put my bat. You can't go and break someone's phone, Lori's to be exact. But she broke her promise to me. Lola hissed. She will suffer for that. Again, you can't break her phone. The blonde rolled his eyes at her. Do you know how much does it cost to get a new phone? Plus, she really values it. That's the point. The little girl stomped her foot down. Do you know there is another way to get back at her, beside destroying her phone? Naruto said. Like. Lola narrowed her eyes at him. Lori really cares about her looks, right? The blonde rubbed his chin lightly. I happen to have some dye colors hidden in an old chest in the corner of the basement and the lock is kinda busted right now. It'll be a shame if someone take them and give Lori a bad haircut with a rainbow color. She will not wake up when it go down and she'll totally freak out so much that she'll refuse to go outside for a while. That'll be so fun if that happened, and if anyone asked, we don't have this conversation at all. Alright then. Lola shared a smirk with her brother. I'm gonna get something in the basement for a project. Have fun. Naruto called out. I better make it up to Lori later. It was a lesser of two evils and she gotta keep her phone. The next day at the coffee house, the crowd rock out to Luna's music as Naruto stand in the middle and he carefully take a sip of his soda while some people bump him around, due to the music. It was pretty a decent crowd and he can see some familiar faces from school and mutual friends. The music start to speed up until it end with a loud riff and everyone cheer for her for a while before the crowd dispel as Luna bounce over to her brother with a wide grin. Well, the rocker bumped her fist against his fist. It's really great. Naruto messed her hair up with a grin. Everyone seems to enjoy your new lyrics. Yeah, but what do you think? Luna asked him. I think it's pretty good. The blonde replied, you're getting really better at this. He glanced at the amps. Oh, do you need any help with the amps? Nah, Chunk'll get them. The rocker dragged him out of the coffee house, sliding her left arm around his right arm as they walked. Thank again for coming to the gig. You're welcome. Naruto grinned. You're my sister and it's my job to support my sisters and lil bro in whatever they do. Yeah, I'm your sister. Luna muttered lowly with a tiny frown. Huh. The blonde glanced at her puzzlingly. Sorry, I don't catch it. What did you say? I said do we have new episode of Dream Boat tonight? The rocker said quickly. I'm not sure. Naruto hummed in deep thought. We should check the TV guide. Who do you think will be next one to kick off? Bram, he's kinda weird. Luna said. You, like Lincoln, we both think Blaine will be next to go. The blonde shook his head. I never have seen him wearing a shirt once, that and he seemed to be way into bodybuilding. Not to mention, I don't think he was there for Karen in first place. Dude, you better not let Lynn know that or she'll never let you go until you change your mind. The rocker giggled at him. Right. Naruto gulped lightly at her statement and they chat about the show the whole way back to their house. Later, the blonde teenage walk up the stairs and he pulled the attic door open before he jump up at the explosive as it break out from Lisa and Lily's room. Not again. Lisa ran out of her room with coughs as the smoke floated out. My 3 weeks of work, foiled by a single miscalculation. She threw her arms up with a shout before she stormed back inside her room to scavenge what left of her failed works and Naruto frowned at that. That mean Lisa had not been outside for days because she would get lost herself in her work. And there's Lucy. Naruto glanced at the opened room as the said sister read Vampires of Melancholia book on her bed in dark. He know that Lucy haven't been out for days. He scratched his head until an idea hit him before he smirked to himself. Look like I have some plans for the weekend. It was morning when Lisa redoing her latest experiment without any mistake and she was about to pour a drop of green chemical into the orange liquid within the breaker but she yelped out as soon as her brother kicked the door open with a loud cry. Lisa, let's hang out. Naruto grinned at his genius sister as she juggled the vial around in air before she dropped it and the vial break on the floor. Great. Lisa sighed as she turned around to give Naruto a glare. Do you have any idea what? Come on, lil sis. Naruto tossed Lisa over his shoulder without any warning before he walked down the stairs toward the front door as he hollered out, Mom, Dad. I'm taking Lisa out for the day. Let me go, let me go. Lisa beat his back with her fists as she cried out in protest, Mom, Dad. Tell him to let me go. I don't wanna go out. Have fun, you too. Rita's voice called back. No. The genius screamed out as her older brother carried her out of the house to somewhere else. Isn't that nice? Naruto stood with his genius sister in front of an art exhibit within a museum, just you and me, spending some quality time together looking at things. I hate you. Lisa said flatly with crossed arms, I hate you so much. Ah, lil sis, don't say like that. The chuckling blonde ruffled her hair up, you should thank me for taking you out of the house. It's not healthy to cooped up inside all the time. Lucy cooped up too. The genius retorted. I know, that's why I'm planning to take her out tomorrow. Naruto replied before he looks down at her, and beside, what's wrong with spending some time with your big brother? Nothing. Lisa muttered, but I have some important work too. Mind off. He suddenly flicked her forehead lightly. I bought you out here so you don't have to focus on science for once. I don't want you to become Amy Fowler. She is a neurobiologist and fictitious, I must mention. The genius rolled her eyes at him. What I am doing is different and real. Don't care. Naruto suddenly picked her up before he placed her on his shoulders as she held onto his head. I'm gonna make sure you don't throw your childhood away. What do you mean? Lisa raised her eyebrow as her brother walked to the different exhibit. The childhoods really fly by so fast and when you notice it, it will be too late for you to get it back. The blonde said, all you will remember about your childhood are inventing things, experiments and studying stools, he mumbled quietly, which remind me to break you out of this stool habit. So, The genius glanced at another painting boringly before her eyes shift back to his head. You are doing it for me. To make a memory from my childhood before it's too late for me to have one. That's the plan. Naruto nodded and his genius sister rests her chin on the top of his head. Thank. Lisa whispered. Anything for my lil sis. The teenager smirked. After that, we're gonna get some ice cream and visit a playground. Don't push it. The genius sighed. Do you have any idea how many airborne diseases there are around playground? She never notices an eye roll from her brother. Lucy. Naruto entered his sister's room with a wide grin as he kicked the door open before he looked around the empty room with a blink and he rubbed his chin with a hum. Let's see, if I was her, where would I hide in? He suddenly opened the vent before he reached inside and grasping at empty air several times until he feels something in his hand. Ah, get you. He drags something out of the vent with a smirk, holding his goth sister up at arm length by her armpits. Ready to go out. Sigh. Lucy said flatly, please don't bring me out in the sunlight. Too bad, you need some. The blonde sing-song as he carried her out like he did with Lisa yesterday. Dad, Mom, I'm taking Lucy out. Sigh. The goth sister placed hand on her cheek, giving up already. Lucy usually don't show her emotions often but she feel embarrassing right now because her brother was holding her hand as they walk across the street toward the bookstore and she yanked her hand away from him gently. Don't you think I'm too old to hold your hand? Lucy said. Nah. Naruto smirked at her as he opened the bookstore's door for her. To me, you're always my little sister, and it's my job to embarrass my cute little siblings. Sigh. Lucy immediately walks toward the poetry section with her brother at her back. Pick anything you want and I'll buy them for you. The blonde smiled down at her. You sure? The goth girl looked up to him and he gave her a nod before she started looking around for any interesting books, mostly gothic and dark poetry. Naruto follow her around until his phone vibrate in his pocket and he fish it out before he take a quick glance at it while keeping one eye on his sister. Sup, Naruto. Back in town. The message read and Naruto texted into his smartphone. Back at you, Jackie. Your grandpa alright? He's chilling, thank for asking. What are you up to now? Hanging out with Lucy at bookstore. You. Naruto looked up to see his sister walking over to a comic book section before he looks back at his phone. Cool. I'm just skating around for a bit and chilling. See you at school. Naruto pocketed his phone as he walks to find his sister before he raises his eyebrow at the sight. Lucy was engrossing in a thick book with a couple of books under her armpit and it was one of these My Little Pony book. I guess there are some sides to her that I don't know about. He walked up to her side with a smile. I don't know you like My Little Pony. Naruto. Lucy let out a small squeak, surprised by his appearance as she fumbled around with the book and she shoved it back in the shelf. It's not what it looked like. Her brother raised his eyebrow again at her odd behavior. It was also his first time seeing her flustered over something. Well, I get what I want, let's go. The goth girl tried to hide the glance she sent at the book but somehow, her brother see it through. Alright, so that's 3 books. Naruto took the My Little Pony book out of the shelf before he picked Lucy's chosen books up. What? Lucy lifted her head up to him, but I do not like this book because it's not gothic and dark. Lucy, don't try to fool me. The blonde smirked. I saw you enjoying it very much and that's okay. He led her up to the counter as the clerk rang them up. I bet you enjoy it because you want a little break from your lifestyle, right? How do you know? The goth girl stared at her brother. That was the reason why she enjoyed My Little Pony because it give her a break from the darkness. Lucky guess and Naruto received the bag from the clerk before he walks her out of the store. You know how much I love playing video games. Yes, mostly fighting and shooter games. Lucy said, you even have some M-rated games that you don't play until everyone is sleeping late and hide them under your bed before everyone get up. Her sentence almost causes him to trip over. How did you know about that? The blonde stuttered before he cleared his throat. Never mind, just don't tell anyone about that, anyway, sometime I would take a little break from the action and senseless violence by playing a couple of certain games. He glanced around before he leaned down closer to her ear. Nintendogs and one of these Barbie games for DS. Say what? The goth girl looked up at her brother with a unseen odd look. Barbie. It's kinda a hand-me-down from Lori. Naruto smiled sheepishly. She thought she'd throw it out because she was too old for it, so I keep it for myself. Oh. Lucy stared at him. Why are you telling me that? Because I bet you're worrying about our sisters making fun of you if they find out about that, and you're also worrying that I'm gonna tell anyone about that, so I decide to let you on my little secret. He shrugged his shoulders. So that way, if I tell them your secret and you will go down with me because I know your secret now. The goth girl finished his sentence. Yup. Naruto nodded with a grin, pat her head lightly. Now let's hit the Hot Topic store. You like that place, right? Yes. Lucy followed her brother. Thank you for telling me and keeping our secrets. You don't have to thank me, we're family. The blonde chuckled. It gave him a small deja vu feeling because of what he did for Lisa yesterday. The sibling wanders around for a while and they went home few hours later. Hey, lil bro, where you going? Naruto asked Lincoln as the white-haired boy ran past him toward the garage. Nothing. I don't break something by accident and I'm not going inside to find the wood glue. Lincoln screamed out. The glue is in the top right closet in the back. The blonde shook his head at him with a chuckle, and you need to work on your excuse. Thank. The white-haired boy gulped. If you see Lin coming home, just talk to her for a few moments. He runs inside before he run out with glue in his hand, heading inside the house. Okay. Naruto whistled out, wondering what his little brother did this time and if he need to bail him out when it blow up in Lincoln's face. Naruto. He turned to see Lana running up to him from the mud puddle that she just made. Are you busy tomorrow? She hopped on her feet excitingly, because I want to go to the river and catch some frogs and toads. Please. Sure, I'll go with you tomorrow. The blonde pushed Lana's hat down her face playfully. Awesome. Lana pushed her cap up with a wide grin as she give his legs a tight hug before she run inside the house, tracking the mud, and he can hear his mom crying out at the mess. Ah, dang. Naruto glanced over his shoulder to see Lin. Did you make some plan with Lana tomorrow? Yeah, we're going to the river for frog hunting. He replied. Were you going to ask me for something? Practice, tricks, or watching your game? No, I was gonna ask you if you want to hang out. Lin crossed her arms nervously before she suddenly run inside. Never mind, next time. Next time then, Naruto said confusingly and baffled by her action before he shrugged to himself. And I'm gonna call the orange one, Gamakichi. Naruto pointed the orange toad out as they named each toad and frogs they caught in the river, and Lana held a large green frog up to him. They were walking on the sidewalk. And I call him Slimy, because he's so slime. Lana grinned a lopsided grin before she put the creature back in the box as she checked each creature's. I think that's all of them. She looked up to him. We should do that often. That was so fun. Yeah. The blonde looked at their mud-cladded clothes. We better wash it off before we get inside or Mom and Dad will give us an earful. No way. Lana gasped at him. I am so not gonna wash them off. She gestured at the mud stains. There are perfectly good mud. You and your mud. Naruto rolled his eyes at her with a light chuckle, and his young sister was about to say something, but they hear a startled cry ahead. Wah! The blonde looked up to see someone flying off a skateboard toward him, and they crashed down together as Lana winced at the collision. Ooh, you okay? The dirty sister asked her brother on the ground. Why yeah. Naruto looked up with a wince before he glances down at the groaning person on his chest. What about you? He never seen this person before, and it's a small town. The person appears to be a teenager girl, but he can't see her face, due to the loose helmet blocking her face. She wear a purple sleeveless shirt with cameo pant over her red sneakers, and she seems to have a very tan skin, as if she have been spending a lot of time out under sun. He can see some purple hairs under her helmet. Fine. Nothing like a total wipeout from a grind. The girl groaned out as she removes her helmet with a snap and she look up into his eyes. He can tell that she have some Hawaiian features and they blink at each other for a bit before she move off him and he help her up as they stand up slowly. Sorry about that, she said slowly, never taking her eyes off him. Oh, it's alright. Naruto scratched his head sheepishly as he stared into her black eyes, just some small scrapes but it's a no big deal. He coughed nervously, so, you knew around here? Yup. Just moved here a couple days ago. She nodded before she offers her hand up to him. Name's Regina but everyone call me Reggie. Naruto. He shook her hand. Welcome to Royal Woods. Thank. Reggie replied with a smile. Do you, by any chance, go to Royal Woods High School? Yeah, third year. Naruto said. You, same. She smiled before they hear Lana's voice. Naruto, why are you still holding her hand and make weird face? Lana stared at her brother and they both realized they were still holding hands before they quickly moved their hands down with a faint blush. My sister, Lana. He gestured at his sister quickly. Nice to meet you too. Reggie said quickly. Hi. Lana grinned at her before she tugged her brother's shirt. Come on, we gotta go back home. I wanna put my new pets with other. Oh, sure. Naruto looked back to Reggie. I'll see you at school. He raised his hand lamely. Why yeah, I'm starting tomorrow. Reggie nodded. Why you can show me around if you want to. Yeah, meet you at front at 7. He muttered. Gee great, see you there. She waved at him before she skate off as she sneak a few glance at him over her shoulders and Naruto did the same thing while his sister dragged him in opposite direction. Naruto has experienced something for the first time and that was his first love at first sight. Lincoln stepped into the kitchen with a wide yawn, taking a quick glance at his sisters as they eat their own breakfast and he joined them before he noticed someone missing. Where's Naruto? The white-haired boy asked sleepily, isn't he usually up by now? He went out, like, a while ago. Lenny tapped her chin with a tilted head, something about meeting. With who? Luna asked curiously. Jackie. Bobby. His boss. Her response was just a shrug from her ditzy sister and she was about to eat her cereal again before one of her younger sisters speak up. Oh, I bet it's Reggie from yesterday. Lana grinned. She's new girl and she said she go to same school with big bro. It's her first day today. So Naruto is going to help her out getting around at the school. Lori hummed lightly with a small shrug. Yeah, the tomboyish twin nodded innocently. I hope they don't make weird faces today like yesterday. Suddenly, everything become quiet, besides some rough coughs from choking on their food or drink, before all eyes fix onto Lana. Excuse me. Lin wiped the split milk off her chin. What do you mean by that? Lana just blinks at her confusingly. Reggie. Naruto waved his hand up in air as soon as he spots the new girl walking toward the high school. He was leaning against the wall. Oh, hey. Reggie turned to him with a wide smile. Did I keep you wait long? Nah, I got here about 5 minutes ago. The teenager scratches his head with a light chuckle before he checked the time. We're pretty early. Yeah, the new girl laughed lightly. I guess most people are not early riser like us. Yup. Naruto let out another chuckle before he gestured at the entrance. So shall we go? Sure. You can show me where to get the schedule and classrooms. Reggie nodded with a smile as they start to walk together. How long have you been living here for? She asked to break the ice again and to know her new crush. Since 3. Naruto replied. What about you? Where do you come from? California. Reggie answered as the teenager boy whistled out. Yeah, I know it's pretty far but I'm cool with it, beside the fact that there's no beach for miles. Surf or you just like ocean? He asked curiously. Surf. I'm pretty rad with it since my dad taught me and my little bro when we were kids. She grinned before they spot the office and the blonde point out. That's the office, you should get your schedule in there. Naruto said, and he wait for her to receive her schedule before they resume walking around together as they chat for a bit until the first period begin. It was already lunchtime and Naruto sit down at an empty table with lunch tray before someone join him with her own tray, a platinum blonde teenager girl with a aqua streak and green eyes. Sup, Jackie. Naruto grinned at her. How did your quiz go? Alright, I guess. Jackie shrugged her shoulders lightly. I don't know the result until tomorrow. She gave him a smirk. What about you? How's classes? What do you think? Naruto rolled his eyes as she laughed out, knowing that he don't like classes since he find them boring, and he was about to say something but he spot Reggie. Hey, Reggie, over here. Naruto. Reggie smiled at him as she walked toward the table before she noticed Jackie. Hi, I'm Regina, but you can call me Reggie. Jackie. The blonde girl smiled back before she gestured at Reggie's skateboard. Sweet board. You knew. Thank and yeah, first day. The new girl nodded. I ran into Naruto yesterday and he was nice enough to show me around here. She looks at Naruto with a beaming smile. Literally. Naruto joked and they both share laughter together as Jackie corked her eyebrow at them confusingly before he noticed her expression. She had a wipeout and happens to crash into me by accident. Nothing major. A wonderful accident. Reggie giggled. Ah, gotcha. Jackie chuckled slightly and they start to eat their lunch, chatting a bit until the teenager boy spot one of his sisters heading for their table. Lenny, wah, Naruto was about to greet her but she cut him off. Naruto, are you okay? Lenny suddenly fussed over her brother with concern. What? The teenager boy raised his eyebrow puzzlingly. What are you talking about? Lana said you got in, like, a big accident yesterday. The ditzy teenager said. Oh, Naruto chuckled. It wasn't a big accident and I'm alright. He gestured at himself. See? No bruise or anything else. You sure? Lenny asked and he gave her a nod. Phew. I was so totally worried, like, all morning. She hugged him. I gotta join my girlfriends, see you after school. She quickly gives Jackie a short wave as she head for her table. See you later. Naruto replied before he turns back to his friends with a small chuckle. Who's that? Reggie asked curiously. Lenny, my sister. He grinned at her and the new girl released her breath secretly. One of 10 sisters. Jackie nudged Naruto's side with her elbow. For now. Really? Naruto deadpanned at her. Right now after Lily. I mean it have been about a year now. I won't be so shocked if your mom is gonna have another baby at the end of this year. The blonde girl rolled her eyes, neither if it will be another girl. Wait. Reggie blinked at them with a raised eyebrow. 10 sisters. Yeah, I have 10 sisters and one little brother. Naruto chuckled at her reaction as he fished his phone out and he shows her a picture of his family, all sitting on the sofa. And before you ask, everyone's all related by blood and I'm only adopted. Oh, the tanned girl muttered with widened eyes as she looked at the picture. She don't know what to say right now. I never meet someone who comes from a large family, or if anyone has this many siblings. I can't imagine what life would be like with a very large family. Loud. Jackie smirked, drawing out a loud chuckle from Naruto. What? Reggie looked between them confusingly. Mine and family's last name is Loud. Naruto chuckled. Really? The new girl looked at her crush, receiving a nod from him. Really? Naruto gave her his school ID to confirm and Reggie just shakes her head at the new info. Wow. Just wow. Reggie muttered. That's what I thought at the first time when I heard that Naruto was gonna have another sister about 10 years ago, then I get used to it. Jackie said and they kept chatting about his family before the topic shift to something else for the rest of the lunchtime. She seems to be cool. Jackie said to Naruto as they walked together after school, extreme sport and all these gnarly stories. I mean, I do skate but not to extreme like her. Yeah, she's awesome. Naruto grinned widely. We should invite her and show her few of our hanging spots. Reggie can't join them today because she still has a lot of things to unpack with her family. That kinda bummed him out but he can understand that. Yup. The blonde girl bobbed her head. It wasn't long enough until they reach his house and she follow him in, dumping her backpack at the front door as they enter the living room, and Naruto turn the game system on before he toss her second controller. What game are we playing this time? Street Fighter. He replied as he sat down next to her, until you want to play something else. Nah, I'm cool with it. Jackie glanced around with shrugging shoulders as they started to playing the game. How long do you think until it get less quiet? About, Naruto muttered right before they hear the slamming door, following by rapid footsteps. Now. Hello, Jackie. Rita smiled at the said girl. How are your family? I heard about your grandpa. Family's fine. Jackie raised her hand up in a wave. It was nothing, just a little slip, but he's okay. That's good. Rita nodded. You're going to stay for dinner? Nah, but thank. Jackie answered, and Rita nodded at that before she joins her husband in the kitchen. Jackie. Naruto. Lana hopped up and down excitingly as soon as she ran up to the sofa. Can I play you next? Sure. After I win this one. Naruto chuckled at her. You mean, after I whoop your butt? Jackie rolled her eyes with a tiny smirk. She should say ass, but there was some young children around and she don't want to risk the chance of Lily picking it up. PFF'd. We'll see. The blonde boy elbowed her playfully and Lana climbs up onto the sofa, between them as they play the game. It ends in Jackie's victory and Naruto hand the controller to the tomboyish twin with a groan. Told you. The blonde skater giggled. Wait until I get my turn. Naruto muttered, earning a snort from her, and he watched the game as Jackie take it easy on Lana by not using any special moves. Yo, Naruto. Luna entered the house excitingly. Wanna hear a new? Her sentence dropped as soon as she sees Jackie and her mouth clamped into a tight line. Hey, Luna. Jackie waved goodheartedly. Sup? Nothing much, Jackie. The rocker muttered. Her bitter tone went unheard by all. She never liked Jackie since day one when Naruto bring his new best friend, Jackie, from kindergarten over for sleepover. What were you gonna ask me about? The blonde boy asked. Oh, do you wanna hear a new jam I come up with? Luna said. Sure, after dinner. Naruto grinned as Lana handed the controller back to him after she lose. I'm going with Blanca. Cheater. Jackie teased him. I promise not to spam electricity. The blonde boy nudged her playfully. Much. Ugh. Luna stomped up to her room as she muttered quietly under her breath. Stupid childhood friend, hogging. The best friends battled each other for hours, also sharing their turn with his siblings, until Jackie leave after she said bye to his parents. Remember, girls, tomorrow is, bring your daughters to work, day. Lin Sr. reminded his daughters with a wide grin, so you all better get up early tomorrow morning. All right. Lin Jr. pumped her fist. I can't wait for the chair race. And the donuts. Luann grinned widely. I was on a diet, but I do not care anymore. Good one. The father laughed while the rest of the family just either rolled their eyes or groaned at the joker. Dad, can I go with you tomorrow? Lincoln asked hopefully. Sorry, Lincoln, it's bring your daughter to work day. Lin Sr. shook his head. Sorry again. That sucks. The white-haired boy's head hang down with a disappointing groan, and Rita feel sorry for him before she get a idea. You know, it's not fair that you should have to miss out on take your daughter to work day. Rita said. Really? Lincoln pulled an wig out of nowhere with a lipstick. Do you carry these in your pant all day? Naruto asked his little brother with a raised eyebrow. You never know when you need them. Lincoln shrugged his shoulders. So I'm officially making tomorrow, take your son to work, day. Their mother nodded. I'm taking you with me. She turned to her older son. Do you want to come with us tomorrow? Sorry, I already made some plans. Naruto scratched his head sheepishly. I promised Reggie that I'll show her around the town. Reggie. The parent look up to him before Rita speaks. Is she from your school or? Yeah, she's new to the town and we met yesterday. The blonde boy can't help but to give them a widened grin. She's pretty awesome. So you're going to hang out with her? Lin Sr. chuckled as his blonde son responded with a nod. Just you and her. Another nod. Oh, Rita, Our boy is having his first date. Naruto choked on his water as soon as he takes a sip and there was a sound of plates cracked in pieces. Oh, how exciting. Rita clapped her hands. What is she like? Have you picked your clothes out for your date? Dad, Mom. Naruto blushed embarrassingly. It's not a date. We're just hanging out as a friend. We know. The laughing parent said at same time. Reggie. Lincoln turned his head to the wall. I wonder who's Reggie and why Naruto is acting a little weird. We should never have watched Truman's Show with him. Lin Sr. whispered to his wife. He'll outgrow it, Rita whispered back, I think. The very next day, Naruto guides Reggie into the market street and he points some place out for her. These are good place to buy some fresh organic vegetables, homemade things, and cheap clothes. He smiled at her. Gotcha. Reggie smiled back, it might help my family out with the money in long run. They do. Naruto nodded, my parents save so much money from shopping here. Oh, right. She nearly smacked her forehead, I just forget about your large family. That's okay, you just know a while ago. He chuckled lightly before he coughed slightly. So, can I ask you what make your family move here? Well, my dad is trying to start up a shore snack franchise, a restaurant with board shop, and we have about 3 of them now. Reggie glanced at some stores. Right now, I bet he is checking in with some realtors for any land plot or buildings. In other words, we're here because of job and that's it. That sounds pretty cool. Naruto hummed in thought, and how do you and your family take it about moving here away from California? My mom and I'm kinda okay with it. She shrugged her shoulders, but Otto, my little brother, doesn't take it pretty well. He nodded to her in understanding. Can I ask you some questions? Sure. Shoot. He grinned. What's it like to have many sisters and one brother? Reggie asked lamely. She want to know him more but she don't know where to start since it's her first time to have a crush. It's kinda hard to find right words for it. Naruto rubbed his chin. Chaos, but in a good way. When I was little, it was pretty tough for me because I really don't understand girls at all and I still do. He chuckled together with her. And I did have hard time with their names. He noticed her puzzled expression. All of my sisters and brothers' names start with L because of my parents and some names are almost same, Luna and Luan. Oh, wow. Her eyes widened. I can see that. Yeah. He laughed, but I got used to it after few years and I pick up some tricks here and there. I honestly can't imagine myself with a small family and I'm very thankful to be taken into a large family like mine. Reggie glanced at him with a small smile as she grasped her hands behind her back. Is that so? Mind telling me a bit about your siblings? Sure. Let me start with Lori, my big sister. Naruto started to talk about his family while he asked her about her family and it went on for a while until they both witnessed Lincoln dragged down the street by a horse, screaming his head off. Was that your little brother? She asked. Yup. He deadpanned, shaking his head at the sight. Shall we do something? Nah, he'll be fine. That is not first time it happened with him. He paused, and that isn't the craziest thing that he does, besides some of my sisters. They resumed their tour of the town. I'm home. Naruto walked into the house right before Lin suddenly tackled him with a wide grin. Naruto. The tomboy looked up to her big brother. Wanna hear about what I did at Dad's workplace? Sure. I'll love to. He messed her hair up playfully. Welcome home, Naruto, how was your date? Their father peeked out of the kitchen with a teasing smirk. It's not a date, Dad. Naruto stuttered with a blush. I told you yesterday, I was giving Reggie a tour. Then why is your face red? Lin Sr. teased. Shut up. The blonde boy turned his head away out of embarrassment. When will we meet your girlfriend? Rita's voice asked from the living room as the mother carries the dirty laundry. Mom. Naruto cried out, not noticing a twitch of Lin's eyebrow or her gritting teeth. What? Lola skidded to the hallway on top of the stair. Naruto have a girlfriend? She bounced up and down excitingly. Oh. What is she like? Is she pretty? Nice. Is it Jackie? Lori asked. Or this new girl, Reggie? No, I don't. The blonde boy was about to say something, but he got cut off as soon as Lincoln come down the stair. What's going on? Lincoln asked confusingly. Naruto have a girlfriend. Lana hollered from the living room, overhearing everything. Really? He looked up to his only brother with a blink. She's no. Naruto attempted again, but once again, someone cut him off. I have hard time believing that he has a girlfriend. Lisa said, appearing out of nowhere. Hey. The blonde boy narrowed his eyes at his genius sister. Why is it hard to believe that I have? Wait, I do know. Don't he already have girlfriend? Lenny asked, coming into the living room confusingly. Us and Jackie. No, girlfriends have different meaning when it comes to opposing genders. Lisa explained to her ditzy sister. Jackie is his best friend, with a good chance of becomes his girlfriend. Naruto was about to say something, but Naruto do not have a girlfriend. Lin shouted loud and almost everyone jumped up at angry tomboy's shout. He said he doesn't. What she said. Naruto scratched his head. Dang, and I was hoping to set up a double date. Lori looked at some texts from her phone as her adopted brother rolled his eyes at her comment. Come on, let's go outside and play catch. Lin dragged her brother out with a grumble. So, mind telling me what it was about back there? Naruto asked Lin after few tossing as he catches the baseball. What are you talking about? Lin asked, catching the ball from him. You know, you losing your cool when they pester me about,